Knock, knock, it's UMass Sports Weekly, your number one source for all things UMass sports. I'm your host, Tommy and we have a great show for you today. First, we have a special guest, goaltender for the women's soccer team, Cassidy Babin, is going to come in and talk about some things with myself and our soccer analyst, Liam Byrne. After we go over a little bit of that, Liam Rose, another first-timer, is going to come in. We're going to talk about the football team's crushing loss to Mississippi State. To finish off the show, Phil Sanzo and Alex Francisco come in to talk about the men's soccer team. We have an athlete in studio. We have a video package. It's going to be a phenomenal show. Cue up Victor Cruz because this is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
And welcome back into the show. Now, as I said earlier, we have Cassidy Babin in studio, goaltender for the women's soccer team. Cassidy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Now, Cassidy, this season for the 2-4-1 Minutewomen has a 1.80 goals against average, 31 saves, and a .705 save percentage. But Cassidy, before we get into numbers, we just want to know, what is Cassidy Babin like as a person? What should Minutemen fans know about her?
I guess first off, I'm a very different person between when I play and off the field. I guess on the field, I'm very intense. I'm very competitive. Some people will say I'm a little scary, and then, but it's just the way I play. It's just my mindset. And then off the field, I would say pretty different. Kind of just quiet, keep to myself.
All right.
Scary. Not as scary, I guess.
No, it's fine, yeah. I can totally see that, too. On the field, you always come out of the goal, and it's like you're going to headbutt someone, but that's always good. It's always good.
In a legal fashion.
In a legal way, yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
At least she's not trying to headbutt us, so. So trying to just go back for, before your UMass days. When your senior year, you went to Archbishop Spalding in Maryland?
Yes.
You're from Virginia, though, correct?
Yes,
Cool,
currently living
cool.
there.
Washington was from there.
What?
George Washington was from there.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
So,
Little history lesson
Mount
for
Vernon.
everyone. Yeah, good. All right. So in your senior year of high school, you logged 93 saves and 9 shutouts, which was incredible. So after your high school career, what made you choose UMass to come here and play?
Well, I think any soccer player, youth soccer player, could attest to just their dream of playing college soccer. And I guess ever since around freshman, sophomore year, is the time when you start getting recruited. And UMass was one of the first schools that showed a lot of interest in me. And they just kept that entrance throughout my sophomore and junior years. And I visited the school, fell in love with it, really loved and clicked with the coaching staff and the players, and it was in the end a really easy decision.
Nice.
you know, it's funny because freshman and sophomore year at my high school, no hockey recruiters came, which kind of surprised me.
Same for me, Tom.
Considering my skill level. But Cassidy, now I want to get into first year at UMass. You come in, I believe, because of an injury early on in the season, and you basically took the job by storm. What's it like, first off, coming in, knowing that you're a freshman, you're an underclassman, you have this huge role as goaltender, but also what was it like taking the job by storm and being as successful as you were?
Well, it's very nerve-wracking. I remember when I got the news I was actually playing in a game, and I was very nervous, very scared, but at the same time it's kind of in the end the pressure kind of just turns you into a different person and gets you to play to the best of your ability. So I guess I was able to embrace that role as best as I could.
Very nice, very nice. But so let's skip to this year. Now we want to take a look at your career stats and also your season stats here. So for the season, now Tommy mentioned you have a 2-4-1 record as well as the team. 31 saves. Your save percentage is at .705 with 3 shutouts, which is great. So we got a tie against a good Brown team this past weekend, and tightly contested battles between Maine and Holy Cross early in the season. So with A-10 play coming up on Thursday against LaSalle, what is your what is your focus personally, and what do you think Coach Matt's focus is just coming into conference play?
Personally, focus coming in, it's our first conference game. I think we all need to really make a statement. I think the past couple years we've kind of been the underdogs or slightly underrated by the A-10. And we have a very good group of girls, and I think we have a lot of talent. And LaSalle is another great team, and I think it's going to be a great game. But in the end, it kind of just like lays the foundation for the rest of the season. So we need to come out and make a big statement. Yeah. And I think Ed would agree. Ed, we have a really big rivalry with LaSalle, and I think Ed just wants us to come out hard, play the best of our abilities, and just leave it all out in the field.
Definitely.
You know, Cassidy, talking about the way you guys have played thus far, Liam's talked about it on the show. Your defensive approach as a team seems to be very aggressive. You seem to be very ball hawking on attackers, making sure you clear balls out. Mm-hmm. I want to know, from a goaltender's perspective, how big is the defensive factor when it comes to the players in front of you, and how do you personally keep the defensive aggression going?
Mm-hmm. Well, defense is huge, and it's not just the girls who play the back line. It starts with the forwards, continues with the midfielders. So I think team defense is something that is incredibly important, especially to our success. I would say that just to have that mindset, just, we want to eliminate as many shots and opportunities for the other team. It's just, it comes from all communication, from not just from me, but from all over the field, making sure we have each other's backs and we know, we're all in the right positioning at the right time and things like that. So, communication is huge, and it's really vital to our success.
Good. So you come up with that success you're thinking about, but finally, this is our last question here. You mentioned, a lot about the team in a way. So, off the field, what is your chemistry like? You gotta love your defense, especially because you're the leader of the defense, basically. But just everyone all around, even your coaching staff as well. How do you guys just mend together and just get ready for this conference schedule coming up?
Off the field, we are incredibly close. Not just all the players, just the coaching staff as well. And I've never really been on a team that has ever been as close as we are.
Nice.
But there's no whether you're a senior or a freshman, we're all, I feel, very, very comfortable coming to each other for just about anything. And I think that is why our team has had so much success in the past, and I think that is a really key factor in our success in the future. So it's awesome, to be honest.
Before we go, one last question.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Cassidy, to all the Minutemen and Minutewomen fans out there, like you said, you guys have great off-the-field team chemistry. Mm-hmm. We see you in net. You guys have tons of talent. What are we expecting? Give us a prediction. Where are you guys going to end up at the end of the season this year?
I think you're going to say us in A-10 playoffs. I think we got a lot of potential. Yeah.
All right, well, there you go, Cassidy. Thank you again for coming into the studio.
Thank you.
Liam, also, thank you for doing what you do so well.
Thank you, Tommy.
Don't worry, everybody, because you shouldn't touch that dial. When we come right back, we're going to be talking some UMass football, so stay tuned.
For most of the first half, UMass was able to control the game with a 14-6 lead, with a touchdown with Jalen Williams from Andrew Ford with 1 minute and 48 seconds left in the first half. But Mississippi State quickly moved down the field as Nick Fitzgerald threw a touchdown pass to Fred Ross. In the second half, Mississippi State scored first with Nick Fitzgerald throwing a 46-yard touchdown to Fred Ross to take a 20-14 lead. UMass then struck back with a great catch by Jalen Williams and a spectacular one-handed catch by Jalen Williams from Andrew Ford for a 19-yard touchdown to regain the lead. However, Mississippi State regained the lead again with a 16-yard touchdown run from Arius Williams. The next drive, Andrew Ford made a bad pass to Jamal Graham, who returned for a 38-yard touchdown to give Mississippi State a 34-21 lead. Mississippi State then scored another touchdown to make the score 41-21 to end the third quarter. However, UMass started to fight back in the fourth quarter, starting with a drive that would end with a 19-yard touchdown pass to Bernard Davis from Andrew Ford. Then a stop by the defense on 3rd and 3 at the UMass 46-yard line. Then UMass marched down the field again with a strike to Marquise Young for 9 yards to the Mississippi State 43-yard line. And Andrew Ford threw a 19-yard touchdown pass to Sadiq Palmer to shrink Mississippi State's lead to 41-35. However, Ashton Shumpert then ran for 10 yards to the UMass 42-yard line. And then Ashton Shumpert ran for a 12-yard touchdown. On the next drive, Andrew Ford throws an interception to seal a 47-35 Mississippi State victory.
And welcome back in. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit from women's soccer back to men's football. Now the football team took on SEC juggernaut Mississippi State this weekend at Gillette Stadium. Unfortunately, as the game with Florida went, big loss, 47-35. Not as bad initially, but still things could get better for the Minutemen. I'm here with Liam Rose. Liam, your first segment, I'm going to start you off with an easy one. What happened in this game that our fans should know about?
Well, Mississippi State took their first trip to UMass since 1986, and they are the first SEC matchup for UMass since Vanderbilt in 2014. It was a quarterback battle. Andrew Ford aired it out for 273 yards with 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but was outdone by Mississippi State's Nick Fitzgerald, who threw 299 yards for 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He also had a quarterback rating of 157.9, which is 0.4 less than a perfect score.
Well, that is phenomenal. I may pick him for my fantasy team next week. Now, obviously, you're playing a team like Mississippi State. You're going to be facing good talent. But I feel like the Minutemen could have put up a little bit of a different effort. But we'll get to that later. Liam, there's been a big issue in the past couple of weeks. Who should be the quarterback of this team? Ross Comas was named the starter in the preseason. He played 2 games, got injured. Ford played last week, got the win against FIU. Now he shows up, throws for 4 TDs, throws for over 250 yards. What do you think is the end game of this quarterback battle? Do you think it's over? Do you think Ford is the guy we're sticking with, or do you think it's still up in the air?
Well, I think Ford played with great poise for someone playing in their second game of the season against an SEC juggernaut like Mississippi State. But I think the quarterback competition should be open until someone can string together at least a couple of wins.
So with that in mind, I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball. You had Comas lose 2 pretty big games to decent opponents. Do you think Ford needs to throw up another performance like he did against Mississippi State, where it's not necessarily a win but a good performance, or do you think somebody needs to string together wins to secure the job?
Well, like we said, he did pretty well passing, but unfortunately his mistakes really hurt him, including
picks.
One which was a pick 6 during a 28-point third quarter for Mississippi State. But aside from that, I think he played pretty well. And right now the only win for the team was with him under center. So I guess we'll have to see.
So Liam, looking forward, I mentioned it a little bit. Defense has been a strong suit for this team. Then they go out there and give up 41 points to Mississippi State. Is this game and the last couple performances a sign for things to come? Is this team on the upswing, or do we think that FIU's a fluke, Mississippi State's a fluke, and this team is still just as mediocre as always?
Well, I think it was tough to stop Mississippi State in this game. They combined for nearly 600 yards, 300 on the ground and 300 through the air. It really came down to rushing at the end. They couldn't stop 6 of Mississippi State's running backs, who combined for 300 yards, 4 of whom had more than 10 carries. So I think it was more so the versatility of Mississippi State. I still think it's a strong defense, and I still think they can find success.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Liam, for coverage. This week, remember, we have the homecoming game at McGurk Alumni Stadium. Make sure everybody comes out and shows support for the Minutemen. Thank you very much, Liam. When we come right back, we're going to finish off the show with some men's soccer. Alex Francisco and Phil Sanzo, the dynamic duo, are coming in to talk, so stay tuned. And welcome back into the show. The Minutemen soccer team had 2 games this weekend. They split, winning one, losing the other, and we're here to break that down. As usual, Alex Francisco, Phil Sanzo, they're going to be the ones to break that down. Wow. So, Alex, I'm going to start with you. You previewed the game against Vermont, which occurred on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure, Wednesday. Vermont, I believe, 7-0-1, 7-1. Really great team coming in against the Minutemen. You predicted that the game wasn't going to go well. How did it go?
It went not as bad as I predicted, actually. Obviously, it's a tough opponent. Vermont, very big power in the America East Conference. But the score is 3-2. The biggest problem for the Minutemen was that they fell behind 3 goals so early in the first half, before the 24th minute, actually. Vermont had scored 3 goals on them. But they kind of made a little rally in the second half. We had Andrew Behrman and Mark Dunphy. Both scored their first collegiate goals, so we love to see that. Dunphy's goal, beautiful header after a corner kick from Alex DeSantis. Unfortunately, the second half rally just wasn't enough to get the job done. Really emphasized the importance of scoring early. Just couldn't come back for it.
It also shows a team that has struggled with offense so mightily. To fall behind by 3 goals is almost a death sentence for them. But
Absolutely.
we had another game.
Right.
We played Hartford, and did we win?
We did.
We
Things
did.
definitely turned around for
Everybody,
the
we got a
Minutemen.
win.
Yeah, pretty uneventful game in the first half, but Hartford scored right away 91 seconds into the half. Again, it's so important when either you're starting the game or coming back from the second half before you're really warmed up to just score a goal. Just early, set the tone for the half. That's what Hartford tried to do. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work this time. So 2 more Minutemen had their first collegiate goals in this game. You had Conrad Gorich, he scored the equalizer, and then defender Josh Jess had the go-ahead goal in the 70th minute. Fantastic, love to see it. Hartford scored the tying goal so late in the 88th minute, and prior to this, both teams were really scrambling to score. You could tell that there was so much eagerness and so much energy in the game. Unfortunately, they let one in. It was a left-footed rip from well outside the 18. Really a beautiful goal for Hartford. And then into overtime we went. So unfortunately, pretty soon into overtime, the Hawks made a very detrimental foul, resulted in a penalty kick for our own Ty Gonzalez to set up the golden goal. It would be his 5th goal of the season and his first game winner.
Yeah, those fouls right outside the box have lost me many a FIFA game.
Right, but in this case it was great, right?
I can imagine what they do to collegiate squads, but
Yeah.
great for us. I mean,
Right.
phenomenal.
We'll take it.
So we're going to turn to Phil. We've kind of put a cap on Phil because he talks forever. But, we're going to give him some free reign now. Phil, I want you to preview what's upcoming. You've been closer to the team than most of us. What games do we need to look forward to, and what does this team have coming for them?
Well, finally we're into A10 play. They'll be facing Dayton Saturday at 1 o'clock for the homecoming weekend. So, yeah, Dayton's coming in there. Dayton 2-5-1 right now. They still have one more game coming up before UMass, but currently they're 2-5-1. UMass, Dayton's been obviously in the A10, a conference opponent. So UMass lost to Dayton last year 4-1 in Dayton, Ohio. So they have that game to reflect on. But it'll be interesting to see what the Minutemen do. I mean, this is what they've been building up to this whole time. They've been building up to these A10 games. All these non-conference games really kind of go out the window if they play well in A10s. We saw that last season. A big stat to look forward to look at with the Minutemen is that in the last 3 games, they're averaging 2.3 goals, and compared that to less than 1 goal in the previous 6. So that's just goes to show where the offense has come in recent states in recent games. So definitely look for that going forward. And like I mentioned last week, you gotta look to see if the Minutemen can play a full 90 minutes. Now that they're at their level of opponents with the A10, we're gonna get a better sense of where they stand. So it'll be interesting to see if they get off on the right foot in A10 play with Dayton come Saturday.
Well, there you go. Thank you guys very much. As Phil said, that team has been scoring a lot more recently. That's definitely a positive and definitely something to look forward to. Homecoming game, Dayton. Make sure you go out, support the team. And other than that, that's going to do it for UMass Sports Weekly this week. Now, before we finish the show, I'd just like to send out condolences from the entire program, thoughts, prayers to the families of both Arnold Palmer and Jose Fernandez. The sports world lost 2 icons, a young and up-and-coming pitcher with unlimited potential, loved by so many players, a truly tragic death. And then Arnold Palmer, a golf legend who has transcended the sport and completely changed athletics throughout the world. So again, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to both of those families and friends surrounding both of those 2 men. Now, although it's a somber note, I will say this was UMass Sports Weekly. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. We'll be right back here next week, so remember to tune in. This was UMass Sports Weekly.